Last time on Pride and Prejudice. And they have none of them much to recommend them. What a thing to say about your own daughters! It's like, I know that you favor Lizzie, but, your other daughters are great, too. And he's like, they're really not, though. Translation, they're basic. The other daughters, yeah. Oh, well, my dear wife, my other daughters, they're basic. All right. Let us continue on. Chapter 2. Mr. Bennet was among the earliest of those who waited on Mr. Bingley. So it goes from him being like, nope, I'm not going. I have football to watch, sweetie. I will send a letter. You go. I don't want to deal with this. He can marry whoever he wants. And the next chapter is, well, he was there the earliest. I love that. All right. Mr. Bennet was among the earliest of those who waited on Mr. Bingley. He'd always intended to visit him, though to the last always assuring his wife that he should not go. And till the evening after the visit was paid, she had no knowledge of it. It was then disclosed in the following manner. Observing his second daughter employed in trimming a hat, he suddenly addressed her with, hell of a Gilligan cut? What does that mean? No wonder this is a classic. Yeah, I'm starting to see it already. All right. I hope Mr. Bingley will like it, Lizzie. We are not in a way to know what Mr. Bingley likes. Oh, that's the mother, okay. We are not in a way to know what Mr. Bingley likes, said her mother resentfully, since we are not to visit. But you forget, Mamma, said Elizabeth, that we shall meet him at the assemblies, and that Mrs. Long has promised to introduce him. I do not believe Mrs. Long will do any such thing. She has 2 nieces of her own. She is a selfish, hypocritical woman, and I have no opinion of her. It sounds like you have an opinion of her. I don't know if have no opinion meant something different back then. But it just kind of sounds like... Yeah, she's the absolute worst. She's selfish, she's hypocritical, she's a gossip, she smells like cheese all the time. I have no opinion on her. It's like... Gilligan cut. There's no way I'm doing that. Cut that to them doing that. Popularized by Gilligan's Island. Yes, totally. No opinion, just facts. That's amazing. She's selfish, she's hypocritical, she's a gossip, she smells like cheese all the time. I have no opinion on her. That kind of sounds like you have an opinion on her. Oh, that's just the facts, my dear. I love that. Alright. No more have I, said Mr. Bennet. And I am glad to find that you do not depend on her serving you. Mrs. Bennet deigned not to make any reply, but, unable to contain herself, began scolding one of her daughters. The way that's phrased sounds like she's just, bursting with emotion, and she's like, what do I do with this? Elizabeth! What did I do? That curl of your hair is out of place! But unable to contain herself, began scolding one of her daughters. Don't keep coughing so, Kitty, for heaven's sake. Have a little compassion on my nerves. You tear them to pieces. Oh, I hope this is a running theme. I hope this is a running theme in the book. Her Mrs. Bennet's nerves are a character in the book. And I can see the next line and Mr. Bennet speaking facts. Kitty has no discretion in her coughs, said her father. She times them ill. Oh no, I thought he was saying she can't control her coughs. And no, he's agreeing, which is not facts, but is funny. And then he's like, your coughs, man. No discretion at all. Kitty has no discretion in her coughs, said her father. She times them ill. I do not cough for my own amusement, replied Kitty fretfully. When is your next ball to be, Lizzie? Tomorrow fortnight. "Aye, so it is," cried her mother, "and Mrs. Long does not come back till the day before, so it will be impossible for her to introduce him, for she will not know him herself. I think this, Mr. Bennet? Then, my dear, you may have the advantage of your friend, and introduce Mr. Bingley to her." "Impossible, Mr. Bennet, impossible, when I am not acquainted with him myself. How can you be so teasing?" Oh, another precious little spelling. I love it. Yeah, I can't come up with a good comeback time to take it out on the kids. Totally. Alright. "I honour your circumspection. A fortnight's acquaintance is certainly very little. One cannot know what a man really is by the end of a fortnight. I'm glad we admit that. But if we do not venture, somebody else will, and after all, Mrs. Long and her nieces must stand their chance, and therefore, as she will think of it as an act of kindness, if you decline the office, I will take it on myself." The girls stared at their father. Mrs. Bennet only said, "Nonsense, nonsense!" Wait, did I misunderstand that? So she's like, "I'm not acquainted with him, so I can't introduce Mr. Bingley to Mrs. Long because I don't know him." And he's like, "Okay, that's fair. You know, even if you're just acquainted for a couple weeks, that's very little. You can't know him that well by then." And then he's saying, "Okay, if we don't go meet him and try to marry him," we collectively are trying to marry him, that's established, "then somebody else will, and Mrs. Long, you know, they deserve their chance to marry him, and she'll think it's kind. But if you decline the office, I will take it on myself," sounds like he's saying, okay, like, I'll go talk to him, which is exactly what Mrs. Bennet wants. So maybe I don't think I understand that last line. But if they're saying it's nonsense that they stand a chance, that's funny. So many rules to being old-timey rich. Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, let's continue. "What can be the meaning of that emphatic exclamation?" cried he. "Do you consider the forms of introduction and the stress that is laid on them as nonsense? I cannot quite agree with you there. What say you, Mary? For you are a young lady of deep reflection, I know, and read great books, and make extracts." So, you deeply reflect. You read great books. You make extracts. Are they almond? Are they of words? We don't know yet, but she makes them great. But you're basic. Mary wished to say something very sensible, but knew not how. I love that. Narrator giving her the benefit of the doubt. Like, she wanted to say something sensible. We all know it was sensible. She just didn't know how. Love it. "While Mary is adjusting her ideas," he continued, "let us return to Mr. Bingley." "I'm sick of Mr. Bingley," cried his wife. "I'm sorry to hear that. But why did you not tell me so before? If I had known as much this morning, I certainly would not have called on him. It is very unlucky, but as I have actually paid the visit, we cannot escape the acquaintance now." The astonishment of the ladies was just what he wished, that of Mrs. Bennet perhaps surpassing the rest, though when the first tumult of joy was over, she began to declare that it was what she had expected all the while. She's basically like, "Oh my... totally what I expected."
French fries. I didn't do it. I didn't order the French fries. Oh, it's after 9 p.m.
Oh, God.
People have been trying to get French fries all day. No, they're still there.
We're fine.
"How good it was in you, my dear Mr. Bennet. But I knew I should persuade you at last. I was sure you loved your girls too well to neglect such an acquaintance. Well, how pleased I am. And it is such a good joke, too, that you should have gone this morning and never said a word about it until now." "Now, Kitty, you may cough as much as you choose," said Mr. Bennet. And as he spoke, he left the room, fatigued with the raptures of his wife. Again, the way that's phrased is just like, Alright, Kitty, you can cough as much as you want. I'm out. Bye. Yes, adjusting her ideas. I love that. I feel like we should use that in modern day. Well, while they're adjusting their ideas, I'll say something. What an excellent father you have, girls, said she, when the door was shut. I do not know how you will ever make him amends for his kindness, or me either, for that matter. At our time of life, it is not so pleasant, I can tell you, to be making new acquaintance every day. But for your sakes, we would do anything. Lydia, my love, though you are the youngest, I dare say Mr. Bingley will dance with you at the next ball. Oh, said Lydia stoutly, I'm not afraid, for though I am the youngest, I'm the tallest. The rest of the evening was spent in conjecturing how soon he would return Mr. Bennet's visit, and determining when they should ask him to dinner. See, this is what I thought would happen, exactly. Yeah, Lydia flexing that height, totally. She's like in the room with the rest of her sisters and is like, I am the youngest, but I am the tallest. And you just know that this is something that she brings up constantly. Well, hello, dear viewer. You have reached the end of the video. So this is but a smaller part of a much larger video. A lot of my readings of classical literature were done in the form of a live stream, and I decided to go over those live streams and edit the videos into smaller, more digestible one-chapter videos. So if you would like to keep watching more of this edited content, then there should be a playlist on screen somewhere. I might put a little card for the next chapter. If you would like to watch the full live stream, then that should also be in a card right now and or in the description. So thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate even more if you would give the video a like, if you would comment on it, if you would subscribe to my channel overall, maybe even ring that little bell. But any support that you can give me and my channel is deeply appreciated. I'd love to know in the comments what you liked about the video, what you thought was funniest about it, what was your favorite joke from it. This was originally streamed at A Moth in the Archive on Twitch. I stream there every Saturday for the writing group. We have a prompt every week and write 350-word microfiction for it. I read some of the stories from the community live on Twitch on Saturday, so you can check that out. And then, of course, I also do reading content like this over there. If you like my reaction content, I also have a reaction channel where I react to like movies and TV shows. That is called A Moth in the Theater, so go check that out. If you would like to see me play and or react to video games, then A Moth in the Arcade is the place for you. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you watch some more. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.